What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Chat and Draw, the show where we chat and I draw. How you doing? You're probably wondering, who is this electrifying young man here? Well, let me tell you. I'm the publisher of Short Fuse Media Group, founder of Freestyle Comics, one half of the good, the bad, the nerdy, the most enthusiastic person in comics, and also known as the Super Mad Brother, Mike Watson, your host today and every day that we do this show. Wiggity wiggity wham, spiggity spiggity bam. How you doing? Now, you're probably wondering what the next question is. Well, your next question is, what is this show? This show is a show where I sit down with another fellow creative in the industry of making comics, and we sit down and we chat and we talk. And I draw their specific character live on the show for them to do whatever it is that they want to do. And we're starting to get some comments in here. Let me see. Lonzo started the building. What's up, Lonzo? Don't start this beef. You have no idea how it really gets. What beef? What is he talking about? Beef. What's happening? Oh, wait. That one is the wrong. I got it up on my phone and I went to the wrong stream. Hey, nobody's perfect. I'm still learning. Where is it at? Is that it? Oh, no, it must be further down. Yeah, I scheduled all the shows. There we go. That's the one. I scheduled all the shows like 3 days ago, a week ahead. And so they're all stacked up. All right. Danny Cooper, what's up? All right, there we go. All right, we're on the right one now. I was wondering why my shirt didn't match. I should have put it together. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, the guy that I'm bringing on here, we live in the same city. He's a good guy. We've been going back and forth to conventions for a long time. Fellow artist in arms. He's putting me to the test today. All right. We're going outside the box here. You will never guess what we are going to be drawing today. But before we can even get to that, let me bring him on in our traditional fashion.
Here comes a new challenger!
J.M Hunter, everybody.
What's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing all right. I saw that little intro of the new challenger, and all of a sudden I was like, I'm going to turn into Blanca because that's my dude.
Awesome. See, here's the thing. We have a battle of the backgrounds right now. JM has all this thorough art gear in the back with markers, colored pencils, and all this cool stuff. I got all these action figures and Nerf guns. It's one side geek, other side artist.
Some people collect Pogs. Some people collect baseball cards. Some people collect no videos. I collect art supplies. So
looks like you have a very nice collection. I would like to draw in that studio.
Oh yeah, there's room for you, man. When this thing is over, we should definitely jam. So
all right, jam. That's great. We're gonna do kind of a mini jam here. We got Kevin Wolfork in the building. Sorry if I pronounced your name right, wrong, Kevin. He says great live with Laura yesterday. I'm digging this format. Thank you so much, Kevin. It's much appreciated. I'm having a ton of fun with this format. I'm getting to meet a ton of creators and meeting some awesome comic book characters. What? No love for Ryu? How dare you? Everybody loves Ryu, Daniel. Ryu has enough love.
What's up, Danny? He says I got that Zangief beard going.
I was
thinking God of War. That's my other dude. So, but then I had to shave the mustache off because I kept getting sauce inside of it and I couldn't eat.
Oh man, yeah, the beard. I don't have a full beard. I got a young man's beard growing down here. But the food getting called into it when I do let it grow out a bit more, it is annoying. Kevin Wolfork says that was perfect pronunciation. All right, man, cool beans. Because I am. If you watch any of my shows, you know I am terrible with names. All right, so JM, give us first off, tell us who you are, what do you do, and then I want the perfect elevator pitch for this mysterious character that you got me drawing out here today, man. I thought you was my friend. You got me out here.
So, say real talk, I was stressing a little bit before I settled on this character to give you. I was going back in through my 5th grade files and going, okay, I'm going to get some superhero stuff going like I used to do. And then I was like, oh no, I have to update it. I'm going to have to draw the superhero again and then give it to Mike to draw. And then I was like, no, you know what? Let's put him out of his comfort zone and let's get him doing something a little bit different that maybe his audience normally doesn't see. But as to who I am J.M Hunter, and I do a little bit of everything. I am an artist, a writer, a publisher. Right now, I'm a graduate in MFA in comics over there at California College of the Arts in San Francisco, by way of here near Columbus. And so basically, if it's got anything to do with academics, art, or comics, then that's pretty much what I got my hands in. So other than that, I do a lot of like more social justice type of memoir comics lately. And I work in all genres and all mediums. So that's who I am at this point in time.
At this point in time,
yeah, subject to change.
dropping down this full resume back here. Agreed, great stuff. Keep up the great work. Thank you. I very much will. As some people who have been watching the show want to keep you informed, we are coming up on the season finale, not the series. Season finale 1. I want to wrap it up. Was so excited about the support and everything that we've been getting for the show. So we are going to have a ton of guests on the 25th episode, which is our 25th, like 25 in the comic books, like that 25, 50, 75, 100 thing. Old school guy. I like that. That's kind of my theme.
Die cut cover.
Yeah. We're gonna have the die cut cover version of this. Working on some nice bonuses, but we're getting ready to, will be other teardrop that I'm letting people know. While the format and stuff is still going to be the same, we are going to be moving Chat and Draw. I'm going to be cracking into that Patreon level or whatnot, where the show will still be shown on Facebook. It will still be shown on YouTube or whatnot, but you'll be able to get extra goodies by being a Patreon member. And one of those goodies is we're bringing out color. So we will be vamping out some color. I will give you guys a taste of that a little bit at the end of the show, to show you one of the pieces that has been colored, to kind of get you like, okay, let's get that. But yeah, so looking forward to the 25th issue show that will be on Saturday at noon. It's going to be a big one. And tomorrow I will drop another hint as to what we will have going on there, and looking forward to it. But to no avail, let's dig into it. We got JM here. He's dropped the resume. JM, tell us about this character, man. What's the elevator pitch for him? Because everybody wants to know now.
Okay. Well, first I'll say congratulations on number 25 coming up, because that's definitely something to achieve. As far as the character goes, the character is, if you were to get Robert E. Howard's Conan the Barbarian, Ben England's The Tick, Mike Mignola's Hellboy, and maybe some Flaming Carrot from old school 80s underground type of stuff, and then add Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean, you would get my character, who's called Pirate Santa Claus, agent of Constantinople. So basically what Mike's working on today is going to be Pirate Santa Claus, all the girth, all the guts, all the glory. And basically I've given him quite the ordeal to deal with.
Yeah, I've already changed the pose 4 times while you're talking. It's time to get into it.
So yeah, so historically it's like historical fantasy, basically taking place in the times of Constantine. And so what we have is Pirate Santa Claus, aka Nicholas, or Nico as his friends call him, basically going around as a swashbuckler, but also as an agent, doing different solving different mysteries, fighting Cthulhu, fighting all kinds of different mystical monsters, and braving the seas, different adventures, thievery, all of that basically is going to take place. But also what I wanted to do was just basically kind of give a nod back to certain historical figures that have been, for lack of a better explanation, whitewashed. So, which a lot of people don't realize is that the original Saint Nicholas, like Jesus, was a brown skinned fellow, and so they kind of wanted to build a mythology based around not only something that's historical, but also something that was kind of cultural, but also kind of like lost, throughout the decades. So more than just a Coke can image, basically.
All right. So you going deep with this character?
Yeah, I like to do a lot of layers when it comes to my concepts and what I work on. So what you see is not always what you get at first. It might be a little bit of wink, or or like I'm overselling it. But then if you look at the images, like and like all the innuendos, they're all there. And I like to play with layers and basically give people stories within the stories. So, for example, if I were to pull out a comic page that I've recently worked on, I'm not supposed to show this, so don't tell Mauricio if you see them. But basically, so this is just a printout, for a test print, but of an upcoming page from an anthology. But this one, like for example, theoretically, you have use of a foreground, then you have use of a background, and I like to, just symbolism, things of that nature. So what I like to do, or border panels, is that's what I love about comics and the medium, is that you can use depth of field, not just left to right or Z pattern, but you can use front, middle, and the background as far as within your execution of telling a story. You can use in between the gutters what happens from one frame to the other frame, on frame sequence, panel, borders, things well as color, as well as as well as just it's not just words and pictures. There's just so much that goes into the medium of sequential art and comics, which is why this is my favorite medium and why I'm so intensely enthralled with this medium and have been since I was
Can you show us
a kid.
again?
Yeah.
Can you show?
So now page 2 is even more crazier than this. Page 2's got I don't know, 20 something panels. So, but this is a Border Patrol story basically, and this will be in an anthology called Border X coming up. So yeah, a lot of my work has different layers to it and different whether I be playing with the color temperature and doing causing what's called tension, a pull, and like push and pull type of technique to get the reader's eye to create that tension and contrast. So they may not know what's happening to them, but we're kind of like magicians, you and me, Mike, when we do these comic book things and this art thing, to where we can basically manipulate things that the reader may not know that we're doing. So, but all right, we got some questions too. Let me go over. I gotta scroll down so I can see Danny's question. Okay, so Danny wants to know if I'm teaching remotely from Google Classroom, and if I am, what are the pros and cons to teaching remotely during this pandemic? So I am teaching remotely of Google Classroom. So not only am I teaching remotely with Google Classroom and having to try and teach art to middle schoolers via Google Classroom, me as a student for my master's, my MFA degree, I'm also doing it remotely. I'm also learning remotely. So thankfully I had a little bit of a primer before having to teach itself with Google Classroom. I still don't understand Google Classroom. I still mess up. I just messed up one of these week's lesson plans. So that's a con right there. Not clicking make a copy for everybody, then the students don't know what to do, or they can't get their work to you, and then you've created a headache that ripple effects throughout the whole student body, basically. So that's definitely a con when it comes to Google Classroom. Now the pro it would be the fact that you have the ability to teach digitally online, and you can teach from your home, and the students can learn from their home in a more comfortable environment, meaning that they're not distracted by other peers or trying to one up each other or being distracted by saving face. They can just focus on the work should they choose to get off Fortnite and want to do the work, that is. So that's another con. But going forward, I feel like this is going to be the technology and just the way things are. If not permanently, then at least in cycles, we're going to have a lot more remote access teaching and remote correspondence in general. You can see that with the conventions. All our conventions these last 2 months are going virtual. So my concern is that they'll start cutting funding for teachers. Like they're already talking about trying to get rid of teachers, which would put, me and my wife are both teachers. So, I mean, what would that do, to us? Not to mention the students themselves. So I don't know. I hope I answered your question.
Richard Ruffin says, love sequential art along with great stories. It's what hooked me to comics.
Yep.
And Morgan Iverson saying, yo,
What's up,
I can
Morgan?
definitely feel you. JM, I'm doing a bunch of virtual classrooms. We just finished doing our virtual classroom at 3:00 before my session here with you and whatnot. But
so we pick up.
Yeah, well, no, I do I do that Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then Fridays I jump on and try to do the free one with the free day with Desiree.
Nice.
But this is for Eckert. Little
okay
program I do, Eckert Connects, with helping underserved families and stuff, we did an after school program
Mm.
that we were running, but now we've had to kind of like switch over to virtual now.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, wasn't it? Like all of a sudden we're all in the classroom, spring break hits, and they go, "Oh, by the way, now you have to come up with a whole new set of curriculum and lesson plans and learn how to do it remotely with a new piece of software and application." And the students have to learn it, you have to learn it, so everyone's just kind of like hoping for the best that this all works out. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
it's definitely an adjustment. So, but in a way, it was kind of there's an upside to this in the fact that after the end of May, I will no longer be teaching where I'm at. So I'll be just mostly full-time student as well as freelancing. And I wanted to go and do my own remote art classrooms anyways. So this is just pushing me in a direction that I wanted to do and work for myself so I could reach even more people, even more students, even more people that might be turned on to art just by watching somebody else do it. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time doing lesson plans,
Yeah.
redoing lesson plans, and trying to figure out what works. Like, there's a bunch of tools out there, man. But trying to incorporate them into what you want them, what you need, and
Mhm.
what you're trying to get them to say, and whatnot. That's a whole different potato.
Yep. Yeah, it's yeah, so I mean that's what the whole sign behind me is. It's called Art Lab, so it stands for Hunter Art Lab. And that's kind of like as I try to figure out working with different mediums or cracking technique or trying out new tools, the audience will be able to come along with me and see my mistakes as well as my hits and my misses. You know what I mean? So they'll almost be like they're also relearning, like we're all learning together. And I might have a little bit of insight knowledge here and there, but for the most part, I'm gonna tackle stuff that I've never even touched before. So
That's good, man. That's what all this like. I thought I was pretty comfortable doing streaming and stuff, and had a good handle on it. But I've learned a ton since really deep diving in. I joke that I know people are probably like, "Oh, Mike Watson's going to be on here very soon with his streaming. He already streams as it is." But I actually didn't stream for like a week, almost 2 weeks, because I was seeing what everybody else is doing, seeing how everybody else is tackling and whatnot, and came up with this idea for the show. So if we didn't have what was going on right now, I wouldn't have this show.
yeah, I think it's a great addition to what you're already doing in regards to programming and shows. Because I get a kick out of watching other people's creations. I just like watching people draw in general, and then they hear the inside, so a little back and forth. I mean, that's even more of a feature. So
Yeah, no, you've chimed in a couple of times and said that you were working while listening and watching because you were drawing and stuff while we had the show going.
oh yeah. Shoot, it helped me out. Like having something else to watch and listen to is almost like having people right there with you, or being at a convention, or being at an art jam. And next thing I know, before I realize, when I didn't feel like drawing that day, or I didn't feel like working on something, all of a sudden I cranked out like I just killed hours and got minutes put in on a project that maybe I was in a slump for. So that definitely helps. And I highly recommend people check out more stuff like this. So.
Okay, all right. I got you. Dang, I got your pirate Santa Claus here, man.
My favorite part was taking all the candy cane, stuff that you would be used to seeing with all the Christmas and holiday stuff, and turning them into actual like parts of his garment. Like that's where they originally came from. Like the sword handle is like a pin, is like the stripes, and then like his tunic and belt is like the stripes, and so it's almost like this character picked up, like maybe came across Sweden, Swedish territory or something like that, or Danish, or whoever has the flag. I think it's Switzerland that has the red and white cross. And throughout his travels, he just has different types of garments and things that he's acquired. And then, like next thing you know, fast forward to today, and you can go pick up a box of candy canes around October, right? Because Christmas starts around October, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Christmas starts around October. It's crazy. It shouldn't.
Yeah. So as soon as Halloween comes, out with the costumes and with the candy canes. So it's just stuff like that, little visual winks and cues, to the audience, for whoever picks it up. So there's stuff for historical buffs that like history. There's stuff for people that like just satire and just like the comedy, comedic aspect of things. And then there's stuff for people who like the adventure type of thing, and just world building and mythology, discovering this world through the eyes of the original Santa Claus before he became a monk or a saint and all that. So
Oh man, have you seen that? I guess what or their version of his origin story. It's on Netflix. It was a pretty good flick. Can't remember the name of it, but it was the one with the dude who was learning the family business of postal trade, being in a post office.
Oh, Claus, yes, that was
Yeah.
such a beautiful film, and to find out that they didn't use CG on it, that was all traditional animation. It just
Yeah.
looked like they used CG on it, and I was just blown away to the point where I went on Amazon trying to find that art book. I was like, I've got to get this art book because I want to see how. I've been getting into concept art a lot lately and character design. So like technique and things of that nature are just something I wanted to absorb. So yeah, that movie was beautiful. Yeah, between that and Coraline, which are two of my favorite like probably animated films. I definitely could use more of that type of stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was gorgeous as well. It was a good story,
Oh, yeah,
and it just looked good. I was super impressed. There's another anime called Red Line, where it's all hand animation. Every single thing in the movie is hand animation, and the studio said they specifically did it hand animation to show that it could be done.
Nice.
I mean, I love that type of stuff.
Yeah, and like what was it, Paper, or is it Paperboy or whatever? I can't remember the name of it, but there was a time where Disney and Pixar started going back to traditional just to show like how solid it still is and everything like that. So anything that has to do with animation art or character design, I'm pretty much a sucker for. So, but it's funny you mentioned that Claus, because I was watching that Claus, not getting jealous or anything like that, you know what I mean? Because I've gotten used to things coming out that are very similar to my concepts because I'm slow at putting them out. Other people beat me to it, like Grant Morrison, with his Claus comic, where it was like a image version with like this buffed out Claus and everything. Even though Lobo did it way back in the day, but because originally I had my Claus drawn more like Conan, it was more like an image 90s style, and then I went more indie black and white with it instead because just because I felt like that was more my wheelhouse. But then I figured I could jump genres and mediums with this character because there's enough flexibility there to tell different stories. Like Tales of Pirate Santa Claus could be more of a black and white cartoony version, and then we could have the realistic version. I could put them both in the same book if I wanted to, just like a flip book, kind of like how Justice League has their animation, version, and then you have the regular, continuity.
Ren McKenzie in the building.
What's up, Ren? I had a couple of like bad jokes, like almost like naughty jokes that I thought I could pull off and say, but then I was like, you know what? I don't want to. Yeah, that's Ren's deal, and so I was like, let me not do that. So let me let Ren's the bad boy.
Yeah, he is a bad boy.
But yeah, so watching Claus, to see a more Germanic or Nordic or northern, Anglo depiction of Santa Claus, as most people know him, right? Compared to where mine is ethnic and mine's black, basically black Santa Claus, was interesting because I've always thought about how am I going to explain how did Santa Claus become white in my comic, right? And then I figured, well, Kris Kringle and those type of characters, those other different names could be like a legacy type of characters. Like, you have multiple versions of the same character, and maybe because of my main character traveling around inspired other ones, or maybe he just a magical spell was cast on him or something like that. I don't know yet. And he went and I don't know, ran white for a little bit, but basically, yeah, I won't steal your stuff, Ren. But yeah, so essentially, I only get inspired by the competition, so. But yeah, Danny's pointing out that the book for the art of Claus was like $308. So that would be why I don't have the book in my collection.
What? Why?
Yeah, I don't know how it came out so quick because they sometimes get these art of books already ready to go before the feature comes out. But that sucker is $308. That's a console system for me, like an older one. Yeah. Or you know what?
I don't understand why it's that cost.
That's a down payment for a 3D printer. So
I'm still trying to understand why it costs that much money. It's an art book.
Yeah. So I guess it just goes to show that that is really like that the movie itself had impact. So, but yeah. So what I like about Pirate Santa Claus is I could travel all over the world and tell different stories and weave it into other established mythologies and folklore. So
Can you? Because I think, if you don't mind, your description of him, I really like that Conan-esque description of him. And then you were saying something earlier about you can stick more than one version in it. Can you elaborate on that more? Because you're saying like a realistic version and
okay, yeah. So basically it's like you look at a popular franchise or a popular set of characters, and then you'll see media adapt it into multiple forms. Like even Mortal Kombat, of all things, had a regular cartoon on kids TV slot on Saturday back in the day. Now we probably all love our Mortal Kombat more like what just we saw today with the debut with the new storyline hitting. Yeah, I kept showing my son this. I was like, oh look, because like that's one of our games together is Mortal Kombat. So even my daughter's 7 years old. Don't tell the police on me, but she got her first fatality and she was so excited and everything. She was jumping up and down and yelling at everyone to come look, and she got her first fatality for Mortal Kombat 11. So but yeah, so that's one of our games, and I always like the mythos and story building of Street Fighter, but particularly Mortal Kombat, because Mortal Kombat was really rich. And I've been showing my son the old movies, the corny movies, especially that Annihilation. So, but yeah, I didn't realize how bad it was until I watched it recently. I was like, oh man, this is really bad, and I like bad movies, So, but
Ren is saying that a lot of Disney art books are stupid expensive. That's why he doesn't have many of them in his collection. Richard's saying he's visualizing a fire backstory for Pirate Santa. Kevin says my juvenile idea was the real Santa was losing step, and he franchised his concept to other agents in different regions, like Batman and Batman Incorporated.
Yeah. Well, I guess I could do a spoiler here because it'll be a while before I get to it, and by that time people may forget. So basically, Spider-Man, I meant Santa, or we'll call him Nick. Okay, Nicholas ends up going to like basically an area where I'm a big Gargoyles fan, so I used to hate Shakespeare back in school, like Romeo and Juliet. They'd make us read almost every year, and I was not a fan of Elizabethan language or Shakespeare. So, but then I started watching Gargoyles, and I love that show to the point where then they start tackling Shakespeare, but making it in a way where I could understand it, and it was cool. So you had characters like Puck, you had characters like Oberon, you had characters like Titania, and like from Midsummer's Night's Dream, but filtered through Gargoyles with Goliath and all of them. It just made it really cool. So I was like, okay, I'll give Shakespeare a chance. And so my character Claus or Nicholas ends up going over to the Midsummer Night's Dream where all the fairies and Oberon, King Oberon, who's the Lord of the Fairies and the elves and all that, and ends up having an affair with Titania. So he gets powers and things of that nature. So eventually he ends up going into a more of a white town, more dramatic North town, where you would see stuff like more of a town that's similar to like Claus, and to blend in, they basically do a spell to where they change their form from being black and brown skin to white, and so that way they can fit in. And through some type of caper, he ends up having a sack of toys and delivers that, and that inspires one of the older white guys that's there to take up the mantle of becoming Santa Claus, and hence Chris, Kringle and all that, and that's how you come up with the modern day white Santa Claus that's more popularized. So that's kind of basically how that works and how I explain the white Santa Claus, why there's more than one Santa Claus physically. But as far as format goes, there could be an animated version of Pirate Santa Claus where it's more comedic. There could be a more serious one where it's more edgy, more rendered in the artwork and more anatomically intense. And then there could be a Sunday strip style where it's just like Funko Pop cute looking type of deal. So we've all seen it done with almost like I don't know how many different types of brands and franchises. So I just figure, why stick to one sandbox when I can play in all of them?
So I feel like, do you mind if I make an addition to him?
Are you taking off his hand?
I was thinking about it, man, and replacing it with a sharp ass candy cane.
That's cool, man. We can call that the doppelganger that comes by and he has to fight. Like, this is your future if you don't, change your path, and all that, though.
I don't know. It felt appropriate.
I dig it. So,
like, yeah, it's a candy cane, or at least paint it like a candy cane.
And like a grappling one, right? The candy cane like shoots out and.
Oh yeah, that's how he gets up on the houses.
Yeah, yeah. So a little daredevil action, like little steampunk, inspired grappling thing. So it's, but.
So maybe this concept isn't as far fetched as when I just got the email from you.
I knew I was going to scare you with the email, but I knew that once you got into it and started using like Conan and those other things, that it would start clicking. It's basically Volstagg. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is freaking crazy.
Yeah. So.
Santa Claus. All right, I think. Yeah, it's time to begin this inking process. Let's see what I can.
It's looking good, man. So.
Thank you.
But yeah. So that's one of my sillier projects. One of my sillier concepts. I had a lot of what I do nowadays is more memoir or social and political, more minded and conscious, and some would say social justice warrior type of comics. More like art activism. So it's nice to be able to also have something that I could have fun with, and still put in those little historical, cultural touches. But for the most part, it's not so dense that people can't get into it. They can still have fun with it though. But I still work in certain political and social statements or cultural, influences. It touches all my work. Even my original superhero team was called like War Party or Team War Party. And like almost every one of the characters had to be part Native American or part Black, because that's what I was when I was a younger kid. I wanted to see myself as a superhero because I didn't like everything that was happening in my life. And I felt like, I needed more power, and the power I got was by creating these superheroes, these characters, these like ripoffs of Wolverine and Warpath and Thunderbird, which are like my favorite X-Men, and or like Wildcats and Cyberforce, in the 90s. And so I basically lived through the characters I was creating. I was creating the type of, like, I was just imagining the type of world I wanted to escape to. And so everyone had long hair and ponytails because I had a lot of long hair back then, and so I had all these claw people basically. Everyone had to have a claw person on their team. So my team was mostly claw people. So I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah.
Oh no, you're fine, man. You go where the conversation takes you, man. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I've developed this habit that when I hit a certain point, I just kind of get sucked into the art.
Which is why at first I floated the idea of me drawing Hotshot or somebody while you're doing that, and then I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Then there'll be no talking, because once I get into it, I forget that people are there and I'm just drawing. So I decided it'd probably be a better idea if I just kind of like didn't do that. So.
Oh, that's cool. It's cool.
But yeah, so we got Soulcon coming up that we're going to do a virtual version of Soulcon as well as Space. And so we're planning for that and just kind of taking notes. Gem City was a big help, when it came to seeing how well it could be done, as well as Teresa Rojas's Latin Comic and Art Expo. So that was nice to see, and just know that we all could still have that fun, even if we can't physically go to these shows that we're used to going, that the spirit is still there. So I'm looking forward to being a part of those next two shows.
Yeah, Amanda killed it setting all that up for Gem City.
Oh, she set the bar high, which, but she's so generous with her knowledge. So.
Okay.
So that's good. I mean, I imagine with this pandemic and the fallout, it might kill a lot of smaller shows, and maybe this is the way they can do, still have their show and cut down on costs by doing a virtual con. So I hope it doesn't go away. I don't want it to replace our shows, but I want to see it in addition.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's definitely going to replace it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go away. I think it's fun. It still needs a lot of work though. There's still a lot of kinks that need to be worked out of it. But I know somebody is taking notes. There's somebody on the rooftops watching and documenting everything and taking notes. And somebody's going to put together one show that isn't just bringing people together and fun to do, but where people are going to make a lot of money online at a show. I know it's going to happen.
Well, tune in tonight if you're available, because we're actually working on a marketplace feature for Space.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in the works. So so Space might be one of the first shows to do something similar to that. And then as you said, somebody will watch how that's done and think, okay, let me do that on a higher level with after I've seen other people deal with kinks and issues and all that though. But yeah. Oh man. So anyways, I'm being harassed by somebody on Facebook. Yeah, they told me off earlier and I don't know who they are. So I was like, wow, okay. But okay, anyways.
I know you're live streaming right now.
Yeah. No, they don't care. I already deleted him and he's coming back for vengeance. I don't know. That's what that social justice stuff gets you sometimes. You get these haters. So.
Danny Cooper is one of the best editors in the game, man. Mike, fix your mic. My mic was up here. My mic was sitting up here. And he said he just found it for $50.
Oh man, you're killing me. He's like, I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna flip it and sell it to JM for $400.
Oh, dude, Danny is the best Google searcher.
Yeah,
ever. You're not gonna find a better Google searcher than Danny Cooper.
He's got that SEO insight, I bet.
Dude, he just knows how to find stuff. Like he puts in the right combination of words, and I'll go looking for something. I'll be looking on there for an hour, and then I'll see it, and I'm like, all right. I sent it over to Danny. I was like, Danny, can you find this for a cheaper price? And then he does. Like, I was just sitting up here looking for this thing for 45 minutes. This is the best price I could find, and he beats me to it.
I'm going to go back in the comments. Kevin's talking about juvenile stories for Pirate Santa Claus. Hey, Kevin, you gotta take on somebody else. You got to take on, like, the Easter Bunny or something like that. So I got the Santa Claus. You can do the Easter Bunny or somebody else like that. So I got so can't be giving away my ideas. Which happens. So do you want me to switch to my other view so I can actually show some of the books I got?
Go ahead.
Okay. So we're going to switch it
up.
Well,
let me see.
Let's go to, I think it's this one. Yes. All right. Okay, so we've got some books that I've either been a part of, been in, or published, or had some type of hand in, as well as a few pieces of artwork and stickers. So the big one right here is called BAM 2, and this stands for Big Ass Mini Comic. I hope I can say that word on here. And what it is over 400 pages of different types of comics, all genres, all styles, and over 60 different creators are in this book. So you've got Matt Fazell, who comes to Space all the time. He's based out of Michigan, who does a lot of minimalist stick figure type of stuff. Look who that is. You got Tim Seeley. So before Tim Seeley really blew up, and then we got Jeffrey Brown, also a well-known cat who did all the Jedi Academies back when they first came out. And then we've got one of the guys who worked on the Back to the Future Telltale games. He's in here, as well as Sarah Lindo. A whole bunch of other people are in here. So a lot of people when they're independent, and then now they're in the mainstream. As well as people that we know around the scene. So that's BAM 2, and again, that's if you just go like that, it kind of makes a big sound. So BAM, hence BAM. Right here we got Tales from La Vida, a Latin comics anthology. This is done with Professor Frederick Luis Aldama, and I contributed to a couple of stories of that. At first, I was a little confused why he was like, "Oh, yeah, be in this book." I'm like, "Well, I'm not Latinx." He's like, "No, you're Filipino," because I'm part Filipino. And he's like, "You're the Asian Latin connection." So being mixed sometimes opens doors for me to be able to be in to experience other types of chances and opportunities. So that's a good thing about that. So this is it's not just black and white, but there's colors too. So there's all types of different stories, and it's basically about the experience of being a Latinx, and just from through their lens. So okay, and then we've got a book called Soulcon, and this is a Soulcon small anthology that me and Yuko Smith put together for the show, and we got Victor in it as well, Victor Dandridge, one of your brothers is in this, as well as we've got all kinds of people in this. John Jennings is in this. Look at that work. Black Kirby representing. So beautiful work in here, and so we've got all types of people. It's Black and Brown Comic Expo. And now Indigenous is what the whole theme of Soulcon is. So not only do we have Latinx creators, we've got Black creators, we've got creators from the islands, we've got creators that are Native. And so touching all groups, just basically letting marginalized groups getting theirs. Jiba, check out Jiba's work. And so that's the Soulcon book that you can get for free if you go to a show. One of the contributors to Soulcon has these books, and generally the rule of thumb is that if you purchase something at their table, like $5 or more, then they'll eventually get this book for free. So that's what we were doing at the last few shows. So now, eventually, I imagine they'll end up on eBay somewhere. Some like Russian hacktivists are going to put these on eBay and charge like $60 for them. So, but if you get it from one of us, you can get it signed and doodled in. So that's the Soulcon book. And then we also have another local creator publisher named Nick's Comics Quarterly. And this is them doing, I got a story in here with Pat Broderick. Pat Broderick not only drew Firestorm, he was one of the co-creators for Doom 2099, as well as Micronauts, and drew some other stuff. So I wrote a story and he drew the story in here. So this is a quarterly anthology that Nick's puts out every so often. So one of the local guys. Oops. Shaky cam. And now we got Puzzle Girl. Puzzle Girl is a story that my daughter wrote when she was like around 9-ish, and I finally got around to just drawing real quick for her. And just doodling real quick. Did this digitally, so it was really like a learning curve of trying to draw digitally on the iPad, and just watching the Apple Pencil just slide everywhere where I didn't want it to go. So, do I have extra of the Soulcon book? Ren, I do have a couple extra, and I can always get extra from Professor Aldama. So, and then yeah, I definitely can get you a copy. And we've got a Monstrous Inktober. I've never completed a full Inktober or drawing all the way for all 30 days. So what I did do was take my leftovers of those things and kind of compile it into an art book, a sketchbook. Oh, there we go. I forgot we had an old, real quick, sketchy version of Pirate Santa Claus, Mike. So, yeah, yours is obviously going to look better. But I also like working with the Universal monsters and things like that nature. Got DJ Nos. Jack had the Infinity Gauntlet. So these are just little art books that I encourage people to do. One of my mottos is to encourage people, no matter what skill level you're at, to go ahead and create mini comics or comics, because I feel like everybody has a story to tell, and it shouldn't matter what your skill level is. You should be able to tell that story if you want to. So Little Monsters is just like my attempt at an all ages comic where I basically take the monsters and make them kids. And so, and as well as what are monsters really thinking about? So whenever you think they're scaring you, they're really thinking about something else. So we've got Sasquatch or Bigfoot here thinking about a slice of pizza, Dracula thinking about martini. This is an older comic. Then we got The Bride thinking about chicken and waffles. Because every time I think about chicken waffles, I get hungry. And then let's see. I think we have a Godzilla in here as well. Oh, there we go. So, wanting a glass of lemonade. I think that's it for the books that I have here on me. The books I'm either out of or they're just out of print because they're really, really old. So. And then just stickers and things of that nature and different artwork. So I will click back to the view with me in it. And I'm just starting to get some of these up on Gumroad on a site where you can buy some digital versions of them for really cheap.
All righty, some of the stuff is looking real good.
Thanks, man.
You can put in the chat the link where people can buy that stuff.
Okay, cool. I'll have to reach. So let's go with the Instagram. Throw in the Instagram first. And then I'll throw in the Gumroad link. Once I figure out how to type in the chat.
Oh, no problem. We still got some time. So
Do we? Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how to type in the chat. So let me. Can I send it to you?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'll put it on your messenger. And then let's get the Gumroad going.
All right, it just popped up. I'll add it in.
And then I got one more. That's the Gumroad. I think. Yeah. I'm new to the whole Gumroad thing, so.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Everybody's new to something. I'm new to Pirate Santa Claus.
Yeah, I'm new to e-commerce, as they call it. Yeah, what I hate is getting lost in your dash. There we go. Okay, your dashboard, and you just want the public link to get to somebody. So it's the Gumroad account is Angry Artist Studios because I share that with my brother from another, my big brother, Guy Copes the third.
Mhm.
So, and he's based in he's from New York, but he's based in LA right now. So here we go. All right, so that should be good for linkage. Those are the main two links where you can find Instagram. I'm always posting process and products or projects as well as process. Like you get to see all the ugliness before it gets to be nice eventually. So I show kind of how it's done because I got students that follow me on Instagram, and so I want them to either be encouraged that stuff starts out raw until you refine it, or I want people to see what not to do. So yeah. Yeah, he's looking mean.
Well, you said before we got the good old Saint Nick, man.
Oh no, looking mean in a good way. Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
I figured he's in the midst of a fight.
Yeah, berserker.
Yeah, he's been worn down a little bit.
I'm looking forward to telling the story of how does he get to that point of Saint Nick and more tempered and giving out gifts and stuff like that and being like, calm and all that. So it's kind of an interesting story to tell as I get older and my own, what do you call it, wild streaks start to temper off, or when I realize that, you can't keep up with the younger crowd.
Yeah, them young kids is out here, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, before I used to be like really aggressive, like, oh yeah, I'll fight, I'll do this, I'll do that, and then now I'm like, I don't think I can last. I don't get the win for like 60 seconds. So yeah, no, I'm good. So
is it not for 60 seconds?
Yeah, like gone. Like my wind is gone in 60 seconds, pretty much. So, my lung capacity. So I'll just settle with being like, get off my lawn instead. But yeah, so you're using Procreate, right?
Yeah.
How are you liking it? Because I watched some of your other videos, and I remember when you first started it, and then now to watch you just smooth through it like butter. You know what I mean? Like,
thank you. I appreciate that. I really like Procreate, and there's a lot of good things in Clip Studio, so I want to dive into that next. But Procreate is freaking amazing. My next venture is to upgrade to a Pro on the iPad soon, hopefully, and get really mess around with Procreate, because right now I'm just doing it on the regular, so I'm limited to how many layers and stuff I can work with.
Gotcha.
But even for this though, like, this is crazy how much I can do and how much freedom this is. I've actually come to is Danny. I hope Danny's still not watching. I hope he left. I'm actually enjoying inking on this. If he tries to call me on that, I'm never going to admit it again.
Did you ever get around to trying that other app I told you about, Comic Draw? That's also for the iPad.
Oh no, I must have forgot about that.
Okay, so it's a $9.99 app also, right? And it's made by the makers of Comic Life. But Comic Draw is only available for iOS, so you can only use it basically on the iPad. And it allows you to have a sketching interface, an inking interface, and a lettering interface. So you can pretty much, and it has a toggle to where you can have your script, and it automatically formats the panels and lettering balloons for you, that where you can just drag and drop them onto your page. So you could have a view where you can see the script as well as the comic that you're working on, or just a script or just a comic. And then each interface has a different set of tools, so that way you're not your workflow, it kind of helps your workflow be isolated to just what you're working on if you're just working on sketching or inking and coloring or lettering. So I use Procreate with the Comic Draw, and I use them both basically together to create a lot of my digital stuff whenever I'm working digital and doing comics digitally. So So it's another app I recommend for the iPad. So those are the two. When anyone asks, those are the two apps I recommend.
All right, I'm gonna have to look into that for sure, because I don't draw on paper anymore unless it's like specifically commissioned of me. Like this, just the convenience. I take it everywhere I go, man. It's the whole studio.
Well, I've recently started going back to analog, like right here. Oh my God, we're talking about Pirate Santa Claus, right? Well, look what I got.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I got these little scrolls, right? Where it has a compass and it has a treasure map, and then you undo it, and it comes in this pirate tube thingy. So
That's awesome.
It's a wrap, right? And then and it's got my art supplies, all my.
I like that.
So this is all my sketching, all mechanical pencils, and my different leads for regular traditional graphite. So this is my graphite kit basically, and I've been doing graphite lately and trying to get back into old school stuff just so I can sharpen up some fundamentals and basics. So what I'll do is go ahead and switch the camera view again and show you the latest piece I'm working on when it comes to doing this graphite. All right, so if you can see that. So I don't know if you guys lost me, if I lost you, but so working with graphite basically just gives me a chance to get back to old school like I used to work before I attempted to do cartooning or digital. I'm not sure if we lost Mike or not, but I see him drawing still, so I'll just ramble on. So when it comes to medium and process, oh, there he is.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to give you more of a screen because you were showing us your stuff. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so graphite basically. Well, I guess I could have just put it to the screen right here, but.
Ren, I don't have anything against paper. It's just that I haven't had the need to draw on paper, and I really want to refine this digital game here.
Yeah. Now I switch back and forth. Depends on what the project is, and depends on where I'm feeling like stuck. So sometimes to break out of that, I'll switch to analog. I've even taken some of my comics and started doing legal pad. So I'll just do that instead of switching the views.
Okay.
So we've got that, and taking ballpoint pencil and just rendering as if it was a pencil, like just tonality, getting different tones with it. And then using different markers and templates and stuff like that. Like just playing around with the different even whiteout pens and things like that. So just mixing it up. So
yeah.
And then just using that, using some of them degrees that I got.
Some of them degrees.
Yeah, I was using some of them student loans paid for. So, but yeah, I agree with Ren. There's always a need for paper. Sometimes you just have to have that tactile scratch, that resistance that a pencil or an art tool will give you on a paper, or even an inking, whenever you can hold your breath and get that inking line going. So the thing that I struggle with the most when it comes to the iPad is the fact that it's so slick. And so my pencil just glides. I don't have, so I'm missing that kinesthetic feel of texture and resistance. So it's almost like I'm just praying and hoping for the best when it comes to digitally doing art. So to help my confidence is why I went back to analog to just for a couple of practices and stuff like that. So, and just other things I'm doing to relax is doodles, where you just kind of like pick a theme and just go for it. So I'll just show that right here. Now I'm saving this for a marker demo to finally use all that stuff in the back. Huh?
Oh no, I was saying, okay.
Oh, yeah. And then the other doodle I'm doing right now are the various horror monsters. Can we see that? Am I up there? Okay.
Here, let me get you back up there. Let me get you back up.
Oh, no, I meant in front of the camera. So right now I'm working on the Cenobites and Alien and all that though. So my stuff is very raw and rough and just kind of scratchy and loose at first and over rendered. And then I have to basically eventually clean up. So. Well, yeah, definitely using all types of styles, all types of mediums. To me, it's almost like why not try different mediums and genres? Is because like why not just have fun with all that? But I'm about to tell my daughter not to start no laundry right now.
Mom said she doesn't care. She needs clothes.
I'll tell Mom that I am doing a very important interview with Mr. Michael Watson, and we don't need dryer sounds in the background right now. Who's that? You know, Mike. You go to school with his daughter? Okay. All right. So yeah. So that's the other thing. That's the other challenge about working remote, is the domestic tranquility sometimes comes in jeopardy because someone wants to run a washer or dryer, when you're trying to do comics or have an interview.
Right. Let me get this back there.
Yeah. So that leads me to one of my other comics that I was working on, more of a lighthearted one. Originally was called Domestically Challenged because I often find myself domestically challenged when it comes to domestic type of things. But then eventually I took a vote on social media and I said, okay, do I stick with domestically challenged or do I go with the Dad Bod Chronicles? And almost unanimously, it was like the Dad Bod Chronicles. So that's been my title for my other comic. That's more lighthearted, more of a strip type of deal where I can just kind of have fun with it. And that's basically a 40-something-year-old artist dad, deals with the growing. It's almost like a second puberty, when after you hit 40 and, hair starts growing in weird places like in your ears and stuff like that, and then you got acne showing up and you're like, what's going on here? So dealing with that, then you get these mood swings and you get the midlife crisis and all that stuff starting to come into effect. So I figured, that plus being a cartoonist and an artist and then having a family of 5, tell a few, dad jokes and stuff like that with that type of strip. So that's another one I'm working on. It's more lighthearted. And then the other stuff is, again, more memoir and politically conscious. So
you sound like you got a full plate here.
I do, and it's funny because a lot of people are like, "What does he ever put out?" Probably, you know what I mean. But the thing is that a lot of this stuff is my thesis work, and so it's not going to hit until like 2021. That's when I finish. So I've got piles of stuff I'm sitting on. I just got piles of stuff I'm sitting on, and it's like, so I keep saying 2021 is going to be my year because that's when this stuff will be wrapped up, and then I'll be taking it to publishers and trying to look into a literary agent and hitting up publishers, book publishers that like Random House and Penguin and Abrams and stuff like that, and hopefully if I get representation with the literary agent, then I can get in advance, on the work that I'm doing for them and be able to publish amongst those circles as well as like, colleges and things like that. So. There's a long game basically, and it's just taking
I
really
was
long.
just about to say that. I was going to say long game.
It's a very
What's
long
up,
game.
Benny J Quick?
Very long game. So like a lot of stuff that I put up on social media, it might be just like in process or quick or just to get the itch out. But so it's just kind of like waiting. So that's one reason why I want to run the Hunter Art Lab YouTube channel, is so I can actually be here in the present and have still some engagement and still be around and be producing while my other work, is done in the background until I can go public with it and then start putting it out there, for the masses or for consumption. But other than that, I do a lot of anthologies. I tend to enjoy doing anthologies because that's how I got my start in my early 20s, was contributing artwork and pages to other people's ideas, where we all would just band together and put all of our work, and you send $10 to somebody and they would bind it or staple it or like have it bound with comb binding. And then they'd send everyone a copy. You would get a copy of your work with everybody else's. And then we started putting them into real books like BAM, and print on demand came about, where you can actually just it was way more affordable to print something up when the customer wanted it, and another company handled it, rather than you having to pay thousands and thousands of dollars and either drop shipping or just having stacks of books that you may or may not be able to push or sell in your house and taking a loss, before and maybe never recovering your money back. So anthologies has always been like in my heart. So that's why I contribute to a few of them. But sooner or later, I'm going to have to start saying no real soon here, and just to focus on putting out, my own thesis work and my own projects, so that way they can see the light of day.
Oh, I understand. Respect, man.
Yeah.
You've always been a big supporter of indies and things like that, but
Yeah.
you're building up a portfolio. You got to get your stuff out there too, man. Everybody's gonna understand.
Well, I still love doing the occasional pinup for my friends' work. I did a pinup for Greg's is Nana, the Were Spider Volume 2.
Yeah.
I'll be doing something for Mess Comics, and so there's a few pinups I have to knock out. I'm doing one for that Cthulhu book that Travis Gibb and them are doing.
Yeah, I heard about that book.
So I got a pinup going for that one because I love drawing Cthulhu. Like Cthulhu and Man Thing, I pretty much enjoy drawing those characters a lot too, because they let me kind of cut loose and just like let me rip and show what I can really do. It's weird because when I try to do cartooning and more Sunday strip style, more of a web friendly style, it looks like I can't draw. It's like trying to do the more minimalist look, and then people are just like, "What the hell is that?" And it just looks funky. So it's a very tough nut to crack, as opposed to going on my.
That super simple style is so hard to do.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating too.
It really is, But when I go to I call upon the 90s, the power of the 90s. When I go back to that rendering and detailed and hyper detailed, then it's like, here we go. Now I can just go nuts with it. So yeah, man. I love all that simple cartoon comic stuff that they do, and I have so much respect for the people that can do it just like a second breath. And then I think because I can draw comic books the way that I can, that I should be able to I can just come up with my own cartooning style, and it'll look just as good as these Sunday comics and cartoons that are on Cartoon Network. Nah, man, that stylization stuff, that's hard. Oh yeah, especially like the I follow a lot of female and women creators, and I follow a lot of their YouTube channels, and I just am floored and blown away with what they can pull off. And then they grew up on Disney and like Cartoon Network and stuff like that. So they have this really nice minimalist look to their work and approach, but their cartooning and what the shapes they're putting down are very solid. And then their coloring and their rendering and their use of light, they've got a very webcomic friendly look. But I mean, I haven't been able to emulate it yet, So I just enjoy watching them, and then I was just thinking like, wow, that'd be cool if I could tell a story in this thing. But then I end up going back and then over rendering something, and then just putting a whole bunch of lines and hatch marks. And it's like, you can take the Jim Lee comics away from the kid, but you can't take, Jim Lee out of the kid. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah. So, cause that's between Jim Lee, Frazetta, those are my influences back when I was younger. And then and I've always liked independent comics though. Like I've had independent comics since like the late 80s and stuff like that. And whenever I go bargain bin hunting or I'd go to a Comic Con, I'd go to Artist Alley and I would spend my whole $400 paycheck back then, back when, I'm from San Diego. So back then, or like I would go to San Diego Comic Con and I'd spend my whole $400 paycheck on just independent comics, people's original books that they were putting out. And to think now as a creator, when I'm trying to sell my own stuff, how tough it can be for me personally to try and sell my own comics to people and convince them that my comics are worth looking up or checking out. Because I don't have to get the gab when it comes to like you and Vic, you know what I mean? Like I don't have that skill set yet, so a lot of times I'm like wiped out at a con, so I have to try and get the energies from somewhere. That dad bod coming back to bite me in the butt, yeah. So I would spend all my money on independent comics, and so I just have stacks and stacks of independent comics. Like Sean Mack changed the challenge rules, by the way, on the indie comic challenge. So I got beef. First, was an indie comic challenge. I was like, I got this like no one's business. And he's like, no, we're supporting our own, like only our own. I was like, wait a minute, because I got shelves of independent comics, And then John Jennings and some other people just started showing independent comics, and then so they took it and ran with it anyway. So it mutated from what Sean was doing, which was really awesome, by the way. Showing everyone's all our peer groups comics and stuff like that, all the Kickstarters everyone supported and everything like that, and then it mutates. It's just everyone showing their independent comics. So I've been in love with underground, alternative, independent comics, and what's called art comics. Art comics with an X. People don't even know what I'm talking about when I talk about this now. Art comics is basically when you take an experimental approach to putting out a comic, whether it be the paper, the technique, the printing technique, cutting them up to a different size, adding like pop out features or just trying different things with the panel arrangements and stuff like that. That's basically known as art comics, but basically they're experimental comics, because sequential art, the wells, it's just, there's so much there to tap from. So I've been in love with that stuff since my late teens, early 20s. And I gave up art for 3 years, and which was a bad idea. I gave up art because I was so frustrated with my art. I quit for 3 years, moved to Vegas, learned how to drink, unfortunately, and then because me and my friend wanted to do a comic, like we're both going to be the writers, and it came down to we didn't have an artist, and I was like, oh man, I don't want to draw. And so I said, okay, fine, I guess I'll draw, And so I was just pulled back into it begrudgingly. And then when I got back to California, I moved back to California, I went on my first comic book message board, which was called comiccon.com. And because I didn't do the internet like everyone else did, I didn't do it till 2002. And so I started getting in these message board flame wars with people and fighting them. And so I was like, I'll challenge you, to an art contest or whatever. Cause it was just almost like, to me, it was almost like an MC battle, so I was very, very competitive and angry back then. So I would challenge people to a writing contest or to an art contest or to a poetry contest. And so that's how I was cutting my teeth back then, just being competitive. But then it opened having the internet opened my world up to all these independent legends and alternative people that you didn't realize were right there within a chat or within a message board, that within reach all of a sudden. So then it just blew up even more. And then eventually my superhero stuff started going down into the back burner, and my more art independent type of comics and interest with memoir and telling like historical stories started going forward. And then also there was some like slacker noir, like potty jokes, potty humor type of stuff in there too, but yeah, so that stuff took over basically, and that's been my bread and butter and everything like that. So now where I'm at now is just basically trying to tell stories with that with my own voice and making sure that there's heart and soul with whatever I'm putting out. I feel like if you feel it and you really feel it, then I feel like the people will feel it. They'll feel that it's authentic and
right.
Listen to that inner monologue, and that's basically kind of where I'm at currently.
Well, Danger Quick says he missed the elevator pitch. He just turned in. Random saying, I love doing simple stuff. It's refreshing for my mind. Danny's asking, who would you recommend on YouTube? And pop out feature. It's a wrap. He's got to do it. Okay, so I'm going to hit this with the, wait. Yeah, I'm going to hit this with the replay and go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you at.
All right, sweet.
You can tell everybody your social media.
Oh, okay. I was watching. So yeah, basically, Instagram is. I got a business card here because I never remember my own social media. I know it's bad, but find me on Instagram. I'm always posting on Instagram. You can see the rough, the raw, as well as the real on Instagram. So that's at JM_indie, spelled INDY. Almost like DIY, do it yourself _Hunter. So at JM_indie_Hunter on Instagram, the art of J.M Hunter on Facebook, and then we have the Gumroad store, which is Angry Artist Studios on Gumroad, and that's where I'm putting up some digital stuff. If you want to see the first Pirate Santa Claus story, right now it's called the Indie Gazelle #0. It's on sale, a digital PDF, high res for $1.99 at my Gumroad store, and you can check out the first story of Pirate Santa Claus.
Awesome. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning into this episode with Mr. J.M. Hunter. I want to thank him for coming out and bringing the very interesting challenge of Pirate Santa Claus. As tradition continues, another fun piece. J.M. was right with this one. I definitely had a lot of fun drawing it and making him massive and brutal. Like Conan, I appreciate him letting me add my own little spin to it with the candy cane pirate hook. I feel like he's a pirate. He needs it. But this was definitely fun, and I want to see this guy take on Wolverine. I think this would be a good fight. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Dear Creative. We're doing fun stuff like this all the time. Have a brand new episode of Chat and Draw tomorrow. And okay, I'm gonna put this down because I did promise you the colors. I'll be sending that to JM and then getting that posted in a little bit. Let me stop that screen share. Where is it at? All right. So I have not announced any of the Patreon rewards yet, but we will be on Patreon. If I get that okay. And part of one of the Patreon rewards that you can get by being a Patreon on the show is that you can get color on your piece. I've been just doing some digital inks, and I know someone who's been watching since episode 1 is probably like, but you colored Chris Thomas's. That was the first episode. Notice that episode was also 2.5 hours long, and we had like 6 people on that episode. So that was just giving you a taste. Thanks, Robert Nix. That's so funny because Robert Nix was on that episode, and he pops in here right now. And so we got the colors popping off. So colors will be available on Patreon. And I colored the stealth piece that I did for William Shatterwhite. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun with that. We decided we're going to make that a Patreon exclusive thing that you can get colors added onto it. Like I said, even though it's going to be on Patreon, it'll still show on Facebook. It'll still show on YouTube. There's going to be extra rewards and things that you'll be able to get for being a Patreon member of Chat and Draw. I want to thank you again, everybody, for coming out here, hanging out with us today. We'll be back tomorrow with the 24th episode and one final teaser before that you'll get tomorrow. And then Saturday, the all epic season finale of Chat and Draw. Don't worry, it's coming back. You guys can sign up for it still. I'll have all the Patreon stuff announced and put that out in time for you to sign up. Ren McKenzie says the first one was that free hit of crack. Got to come back for more. Mr. Ren McKenzie, you are right, sir. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Catch you tomorrow. There we go. Ta-ta.